My belief system is that the gut is nature's intelligence speaking through us, that there's this directionality and all-knowingness and intelligence that we have access to when it comes to small and the greatest and most challenging decisions in our lives. And how, such a big part of how we're able to really cultivate that nature's intelligence, that gut, is by slowing down, is by getting quiet, is by creating the boundaries so we can feel into ourselves. So for me, the things that I found started to become most helpful really started with my phone. It really started with my devices. That, I think for me, social media and just the constant contact is oftentimes the most overwhelming component to my life. You know, I had read a stat that spoke about the amount of information that we process. And it was that our great ancestors, who were hunters and gatherers living in tribes, 12,000, 15,000 years plus ago, the amount of information that they would process in their entire lives is equivalent to the amount of information we process in one day in 2023. That's such a big difference. And there hasn't been enough time for our bodies to biologically evolve to a place where we can adjust and take on that much information. So, because there's been so much technological change, it's a small period of time. And because we have so much access to information in a way that's really new to us, our bodies just aren't caught up and prepared to know how to handle this. This is why I think really bringing a dedicated and intentional practice of stillness and creating boundaries from all that information is so necessary to tap back into that nature's intelligence. So for me, it started with a few hours a day away from my phone, or a couple hours away from my phone. And then it became these tech Sabbaths,
Yeah.
where I would do Friday at sundown until Saturday at sundown, no phone. And this requires a little bit of planning, right, around plans and, other things you might use your phone for. But I started to notice that in these little windows where I was breaking away from my devices and all that contact and information, I was getting these moments of clarity, these downloads. So I started to extend it into little trips. I would do a weekend, maybe 2 or 3 nights away, phone off the whole time, rent a little Airbnb or camp out somewhere, ideally somewhere in nature. And then those downloads would get bigger and clearer. So it's almost like if meditation is at maybe like the base or like the simplest level of how we create that stillness in space, I started to look at how I could extend beyond meditation into these little mini lifestyle changes for a day or a couple of days. Eventually, I started doing them for a week. What I have found is that when I really am looking for clarity, when I'm really looking for a decision, or if I'm just feeling really fried in my head, broken down, when I can create those boundaries from communication and technology and then go be in nature in some capacity and let myself just be in the space, the clarity starts to come in. So how we can incorporate that in many ways, if it's a 5-minute mindfulness practice, to these more intense, 8-day getaways or like the silent retreat that you're going to be doing, anywhere in between that, I think is so valuable for the world that we live in today.